Yo, apprentices, acolytes, coming into the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. It's so good to see you, apprentices and acolytes. Today we got a doozy, we got a good one, fam. Talking about all the good Sith Lord goodness, talking about the dawn of the Sith civilization. Yes sir, the Sith race, the pure bloods, the one and only great schism. Actually there's two great schisms, but hey, who's judging here? It's gonna be super fun. I can't wait to get into this stuff. I literally made a PowerPoint presentation, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? I am Professor Dagovere today. I am the Sith connoisseur, the Sith enthusiast, and we are coming in here today, and we're gonna talk about the one and only dawn of the Sith civilization. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be awesome. There's probably gonna be technical difficulties, and I'm so excited for you to be in this struggle with me, baby. Let's go. I'm so stoked. I'm excited. Legitimately, like, I am actually excited. It's gonna be really fun just to see, like, everything kind of go crazy. Man, I'm actually really excited to see how this is gonna go, because I think that I think it could go well. It could. I think it could go bad. But at the end of the day, I think it'll be really fun just for everybody to come in here and, you know, talk about stuff. You know, hey, you know, what the hell does this mean? What does that mean? I'm not sure. But it's going to be really interesting. Going to be fun. All Legend stuff, you know, and some new canon stuff. Who knows? We'll see what's going on. But I'm really excited to show you guys everything that's been going on today. So it's going to be really fun. Yes, Rule for Farm Boy, Galactic Empire secured this holo transmission. Uh-oh. Oh, my goodness. How you guys doing today? So good to see you. Soda fam, Texas Yankee, thanks for coming in, fam. I know you missed the last stream, a couple streams. I think I saw like your reply, and you were like, "Oh no, I saw this Tuesday or Wednesday or something." I can't remember when it was. Somebody had seen. Someone wanted to join the stream, then they realized that they had saw the actual stream like a day ago or something. Yo, Lord Enzo, the one and only. It's so good to see you, fam. Yo, can I get ready up inside the chat? Let's go. You watch it afterward? Yo, you're a freaking legend, bro. That is awesome. That is so freaking sick. I am so freaking stoked. That is legit. All right, so let's see if I can actually make this full screen. Let's see if I can. How do I do this as a job, by the way? Where's the, oh, is it view? And then, PowerPoint thing. God, Jesus. My boss is going to be so disappointed in me right now. God dang it. All right, well, here we go. Oh, wait, is this it? Can we do this? No! No! Okay, cool. All right, here we go, baby. It's gonna be awesome. So here's the day. Here's the thing. Let me move my fat ass head down a little bit more so you guys can see some of this. There you go. All right. So is that good? Is that the better spot right there? Leaks. Yeah, we got leaks, baby. We got leaks upon leaks. Let's freaking go. So here's the deal. This is all going to be today. This sermon, this class, this lecture, everybody's in session. Welcome to my academy. Welcome to the Dark Temple. Everything's going in. I'm at the gym listening in. Yo, fam, get that pump, baby. Let's go, bro. Let's go. Let's go. Sith boys in the house, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I'm a Jedi purist. Yeah, me too. So let's go, man. All right. So here's the deal. It doesn't matter whether you're a new fan. It doesn't matter if you're an old fan. It doesn't matter if you love canon, if you love Disney canon, Legends continuity. I don't care what it is. All right, so all we're going to do today is just learn about the Sith, how the Sith came to be, what happened to the original Sith, and the Sith that you end up seeing in the movies, how it's completely different. They all started at one point. This, right here, is where it all started. But today, before anything happens, I got to teach you about all of this. Okay, I got to teach you about all of this, and I'm completely in the wrong here. So, this is the Star Wars timeline. Okay, this is the complete Star Wars narrative timeline for movies and shows and all things live actions. I did not want to put the comics and books in everything here because I did not want to confuse everybody. But here's the deal. Okay, and you guys can ask questions. Please ask questions anytime you want. I don't care if I'm talking and I sound stupid. I need you guys to give me all the feedback. I need you guys to give me questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is the one I ask. Just kidding. But it's actually the question that's not asked at all. So please go ahead, ask questions. I guarantee you, and someone else is thinking about what you're thinking. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is the entire Star Wars timeline. What you see here is the entire Star Wars timeline from live action, okay? So we are going to start off with all the movies, right? All the movies here. The most important thing that you need to understand is A New Hope, Episode 4. Episode 4, A New Hope, that is the first Star Wars anything, the first Star Wars movie. That is our anchor point, okay? This is going to help you navigate through the entire timeline of Star Wars. Why? Because that specific battle that happens in Episode 4, where Luke Skywalker destroys the Death Star, that is called the Battle of Yavin. Okay? So everything before Episode 4, everything before Luke Skywalker destroys the Death Star is called before the Battle of Yavin. Okay? Everything that happens after, like Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Mandalorian, the sequel trilogy, that all happens after the Battle of Yavin. Okay? So remember that. Before the Battle of Yavin, after the Battle of Yavin. Alright? BBY. Before the Battle of Yavin. Darius, when does the Acolyte happen? It happens BBY. 100 years, 300 years before the Battle of Yavin. Before the Battle of Yavin. Hey, Lord Dagovere, when does the Mandalorian happen? It happens about 4 or 5 years after the Battle of Yavin. Right? We got that. Sequel trilogy, when does it happen? About 40 years after the Battle of Yavin. Understand? So that's how we're going to do this. What does BBY stand for in the chat? Battle. Before Battle of Yavin. Yes, absolutely. There you go. What does ABY stand for? After Battle of Yavin. Okay? Okay, so before we get into this shit, because it's super overwhelming, and it needs to be overwhelming, I need you all to understand when you look at this, you have to be overwhelmed. You have to be. It needs to be confusing. Unless you're a diehard nerd like I am. Okay? But even I was confused at one time when I look at this shit. Because this is really confusing if you don't know what we're talking about. But that's why you're going to learn BBY and ABY. Because this shit is going to look like this. And it's going to be much more simplified, much more easier for you to understand. That's why you understand BBY. Before the Battle of Yavin and after the Battle of Yavin. Vader is giving you approval. He thinks that you got this. Now you understand everything you need to know to get on to the next chapter here with the Dawn of the Sith. The real shit. All right, so let's go. Let's look at chat real quick. Let's take time. Let's get some questions in here before we get into the nitty-gritty. That was basically your tutorial. So now we're going to get into the real game here. Now we're going to get into the real phase of everything. Test this after this stream. Yes, we're going to test. Yes, I'm going to send you a multiple choice everything, fam. Mando starts at 9 years after Battle of Yavin. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, you got it, fam. You know what you're talking about. You have the Timelines book? Yes, I love the Timelines book, man. Timelines book is so damn good. Yes, it is freaking great. Yeah, BBY, I never knew what that meant. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Because it's interesting because when you look at a lot of the Star Wars content creators, a lot of the hardcore Star Wars fans, they already know this. Like this stuff is like breathing to them. They understand it. But it's very confusing for someone that has not started, that cannot dip into the book at all, into expanded universe stuff, comics, books, video games. They're not going to understand it because no one is actually telling them. When you open up a book for the first time, it's not telling you what BBY means. It's already assuming that you understand this. And I've had so many people who are very casual fans, only movies only live action stuff. They want to get into it, but they have no idea where this is in the timeline. What does this mean? Who is this person? Wait a second. There's 2 Death Stars? I don't understand. So that's why we have to tell you this, because this is the only way you can navigate the entire narrative timeline of Star Wars. Once you learn BBY and ABY, you can go anywhere you freaking want, baby. It's like learning how to drive in Star Wars. My timeline's got water damage. I need to replace it. Oh my gosh, yeah, definitely, man. That's the worst, dude. Leon says, I wonder if we'll see any of these characters in Dawn of the Jedi movie. Who knows? But there's a lot of stuff that we can see, and I think that there's so much. A lot of stuff that hasn't even really been fleshed out, but we'll see. Where is Andor on the timeline? Andor is before Episode 4. So that would be BBY, before the Battle of Yavin. So, and we're going to see where exactly. I think it's around the same time as Kenobi, right? Around the same time as Kenobi and Jedi Survivor. I don't know specifically when before the Battle of Yavin, but it's definitely, I think it's definitely like 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, I want to say. So sometime around that. I think it's a good distance away from Revenge of the Sith. But here we go. You're learning how to drive next. Oh my gosh, yo, we're gonna learn how to get into hyperspace. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, so this is where you probably want to take notes. There's gonna be a lot of details. There's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff. All right, because a lot of this stuff starts hundreds of thousands of years before the Battle of Yavin, before Episode 4. So, are you ready? Press anything inside the chat. We're going to get inside this stuff. We're going to keep going because I want to educate you guys. I want to help you guys go in here. And even people that know this stuff, help people that don't know. Please, everybody come. This is a group project. We're all getting everybody interested in Star Wars, you know, all the goodness of the continuity. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Class is in session, baby. Dawn of the Sith people. Wow, look at all this good stuff. Look at this. This is the dawn of the Sith civilization. When does this start? This starts, the beginning. This starts 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. Do you understand that? 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. This is where this starts. It is one of the first anchor points of the Star Wars timeline, okay? And these people that you see on screen, this is the Sith race. These are the Sith purebloods. These are completely different to the Sith Lords that you see in the movie. This is the anchor point. This is the beginning, the origin story, the precursors. At the end of this, you're eventually going to understand how these Sith Lords that we see in the movies came to be. But it all starts right here with these Sith people. 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. How many years away from Episode 1? You're really hitting me with the math, man. But so if it's 100 years before the Battle of Yavin, I'm probably guesstimating it's like, what, 99,960 years? That is not a question I was prepared to answer. But it's definitely, rounded up, it's about 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. So that makes you understand how far of a stretch this stuff is away from everything else, okay? And I actually need my, I need my notes. I can't do the view anymore. Okay, so this is the good stuff right here, because the Sith people are so different, I feel like, from the original Sith and what you see in the movies. And this is where it all starts. Oh, man, I can't wait to get to tell you about everything else, because it's just so much, all right? So, these are the Sith purebloods, all right? And they are from the planet Korriban. They sprouted on this planet, this specific planet, 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. And what's so interesting about this specific planet is that it has a natural affinity. It is powerful naturally in the dark side of the Force. Isn't that's crazy? You know about Coruscant, right? You may know about Tython if you've heard about that. You got to see Tython in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Tython specifically has a lot of history with the Jedi, but Korriban is kind of like the dark-sided version of Tython, the dark-sided version of a Coruscant, where you see the Jedi on Coruscant and the Jedi Council. So because the Jedi are always there, there's like, the Coruscant, the planet itself, has strength in the light side of the Force. But you have these people, these Sith people, and because the planet is so powerful in the dark side of the Force, so too are the natives of the Sith purebloods. So not only is the dark side very powerful in Korriban, it is also powerful in these people. And it's crazy because there are so many planets inside the Star Wars galaxy, but this specific planet is so unique to the rest of the galaxy because of its strength in the dark side of the Force. You know, the stuff fascinates me as older I get. Same here, fam. It's so insane to me how, as growing up, I always played sports, always played baseball, and people used to have such a terrible outlook on books and reading this shit, but I cannot get enough of this crap when I get older. And that's why I have to tell people, because if not, I'll just talk to myself about it. So now we're on Korriban. So you know about the Sith people. You know about 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, right? 100 or so thousand years before Episode 1, give or take, because my math is trash. So we're going on now. And now we're going to tell you about the society. We're going to tell you about what the Sith people are, what is happening on this planet. Because there is so much shit happening during this timeline. You guys have no idea the ripples effect that it's going to essentially influence the rest of the galaxy, eventually to what we see in the movies. And this is the way the Sith are. These are them. Now, these particular ones, we're going to use these as references, and I don't want to confuse you with the people that we have on screen here, but take this as an example. They're fighting. There's people watching. It is a very violent and vicious race. Their entire society thrives off fighting and houses of power. That is all they do is fight. They are people driven by rage and hunger. And the dark side ruled by a singular Dark Lord of the Sith. Dark Lord is what they call them because they are Sith people. So they don't really say like a Dark Lord human. It's just a Dark Lord. And it's crazy because every single person that is under this Dark Lord, under this ruler, does what, the Sith usually do. They're trying to betray him. They're trying to build armies. They're trying to usurp them. And this is an entire society based off that ideology. The entire time this is happening, 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. And this is their society. This is what they do. They build up a leader. They usurp him. They build armies. They fight. And this cycle continues on for thousands of years. Until somebody stops this shit. I played baseball too. Dude, that's awesome. What position did you play? I played second base. I had a batting average of like something stupid. It was like 661, I think, in my senior year. But I chose a different career course. That was down in South Florida for travel ball. So we got the Sith. Okay, we're moving here. All right. So now you know that this is a perpetual locked in combat race that is very powerful in the dark side of the Force. Just about every single person, not all of them, but just about average amount of people are very strong in the dark side of the Force here, okay? And they are always fighting. The planet itself is of the dark side itself. It's just this thing that is literally continuously fighting with dark side of the Force, right? And their society is really interesting because while everybody is fighting, while everybody is hailing this Dark Lord, they have a class system. It's not just everybody is a Lord, is a Force user, a dark-sided Force user. They actually have a class system. And it's really interesting because at the top you have those Sith purebloods that I was just showing you, the Sith purebloods, all right? These are the warriors. These are the equivalent of what you would see as a lightsaber-wielding Jedi or Sith. Because these are Sith people, and we're going to call them Dark Jedi or Purebloods. Below them are the priests. Below the priests are the engineers. Below the engineers are the warriors, and we're going to get into them too. And then we also have the slaves. And what's really sad, I want to say, about the slaves is that, again, this is a Sith, right? This entire society stems off the ideology of the Sith, what the Sith eventually become. And what the Sith eventually become is a power of ideology, the power of transformation, right? Transformation to its zenith. That you're transforming so much, that is what you're enslaving yourself to. You're giving yourself to the idea of power, only to power, achieving power. And every single class below you has to serve you, because that is also a Sith way, is oppressing the weak for your own benefit, because that's what it is. Sith do not share power. They oppress people, they conquer people, and they allow these people to serve under them so they can become more powerful, using them as like stepping stools or stairs. And so you have these slaves, these poor little Grothu, that are basically little slaves. These little guys right here. Above them are the warriors, the Massassi, and the Massassi are in the thousands, man. Hundreds of thousands. They are extremely powerful, big, bulky monsters. These guys go out to other planets, conquer things, destroy things. They are insanely powerful. And not all of them are force sensitive. I want to say they're probably minutely force sensitive, if none at all. Then above them you have the engineers. And the engineers are the reason why you look at Korriban, and we're going to look at Korriban art. So we'll probably go to the back, the first one. So you see these big monuments, right? Almost like the Egyptian pyramids and Yavin and the statues and everything. And that's what the engineers do. They build things, and the entire race is all about the dead, serving the dead. You know, leaving these things here so people can see this person ruled here, or this house of power was here. Very similar to the Egyptians, I think, from a surface level. And it's interesting to see that not only could they build these statues, they also could build machines and ships. And that we'll talk about that later. And then on top of that is the priests, and then of course the purebloods that we were talking about. And there's a lot of really interesting characters that we'll get to talk about. And again, this is only surface level stuff, because if I was here telling you about every single thing that would happen, we'd be here for hours and everybody would fall asleep. I was outfield starting out, moved up to second and first, and I was batter too. Yo, let's go, fam. I love that, dude. I love that. Oh, Leon, I totally feel you too. And he says, so were there any that were not under the influence of the dark side? What would have been more in line with the Jedi, or as automatic dark side? So even if there was a Sith pureblood, right, these race of people, even if they weren't force sensitive, right, even if they were not someone that essentially liked the ideology of what they were born into, they would become slaves. They would become slaves, they would serve the Massassi, which are the warrior class. They would probably die in battle, they would probably die building things. Their life was to serve. The moment you are born, kind of like an ant, you are basically chosen as a job, and you are given in some way. And in these books, in this lore, it basically says your life is a benefit to everybody else. And it's a very vague way to think about it, but you can put your imagination to what they had to do, what they were supposed to do. And it's sad, you know, because some of those little slaves, you know, that's what they were going to do. They had to build stuff and help the priests, help the Massassi warriors, and die in battle with them, you know, help the engineers die building things, statues being crushed on them that they just lived to serve. That's all it ever was. And it's sad to see that. And so I think even if someone wanted to break out from that ideology, I don't think they would have been powerful enough. In fact, I would think that they would be seen as an outlier and they would be killed, honestly. Because that's all the Sith wanted to do, was conquer all themselves and each other, and just build the best vicious society that they probably could through fighting. That's all they did. So I think it's not like the Jedi at all. You know, it's completely different. In fact, the Jedi don't even really know who the hell they are at this point, and that's going to be the most interesting part of the story. So now, as we were just talking, all this stuff is happening, right? 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. But then something happens. Something interesting happens in the galaxy, and terrifying. And about 27,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, so we were at 100,000 years, so what is that? About 75,000 years of this constant chaos on this planet, right? Societies and houses of power building each other, you know, wiping each other out, erasing each other from history, you know, usurping each other, betraying each other, killing each other, conquering each other. At 27,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, they meet these invaders, these terrifying invaders, and these are called the Rakatan. This is to the left of the screen here. Okay, these giant hammerhead guys that look really freaking crazy. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Yeah, I can. These guys right here. All right, and these are the Rakatans, and the Rakatans have an empire, and their empire is infinite. Do you understand that? Infinite. Now, here's the problem. I'm going to tell you guys this in a surface level, okay? I just want you to tell you very vague, because I don't want you to get into the nitty-gritty of this stuff yet. We will get to that soon in other streams in the future. But there are some inconsistencies with the way these guys are brought and taught about. Okay, this specific race was supposedly much larger in success in conquering the galaxy than the modern galactic empire that Darth Sidious created, okay? These guys not only were force sensitive to a degree that has literally never been seen in Star Wars, but their technology was as well. Imagine a force user that is using technology that is also force sensitive. It is insane. Your gun, your ship, anything and everything. It's not just a lightsaber, dude. It is everything that is connected to the Force and is amplifying and augmenting your powers. That is insane. We have not seen that in Star Wars. On top of that, these guys dominated everybody and anything that they conquered. It is theorized that these guys not only were conquering inside the galaxy, they were also conquering potentially other galaxies as well. And every single planet that they went to, they ended up enslaving these guys. They ended up enslaving the entire planet, enslaving the entire races, and they went from planet to planet inside everything in the galaxy. And they were using these races to capture them, use them as slaves, and also use them as military to help conquer other planets, all combining and creating their own infinite empire. Now, where the inconsistencies come is sometimes people say they conquered 1,000 planets, sometimes people say they only conquered 500, and then, the modern galactic empire conquered about, 12 to 1,300 planets that we see in the original trilogy. So that's where the inconsistency is. But what you need to understand is these guys are incredibly advanced in technology. They're incredibly powerful force sensitives on the likes of which we've probably never seen before. And they're on a fucking roll. They are on the biggest roll. And the planet that they see, that they want to conquer next, is Korriban. The planet of the Sith people. The planet of the Sith race. So these people that have literally been fighting each other, fighting themselves, killing themselves, eating themselves, right? Literally doing this. They now have someone else coming into this fight and saying, hey, we infiltrated your space, we infiltrated your home, and we're going to make you as slaves. So you better bend the knee right now. And what's crazy is that, like I said, these guys are going off. The infinite empire cannot be stopped. And then they end up meeting this freaking wall that they just can't defeat. In fact, they can't beat the Sith. They can't beat the Sith. They lose. This infinite empire, this monstrosity of a powerhouse, literally is at a standstill because this damn planet of Force beings, of these pure blood Sith that have this natural affinity in the dark side. By the way, the Rakatan power, they're not just using the Force. They are also using the dark side of the Force. So when the Rakatans come and knock on the home of these Korriban Sith pure bleeding bastards, the Sith see them as an insult. Like, yo, you're using our powers. You're using our powers, no you. And so it's almost like a motivation for these Masasi and all these classes, all these houses of power to unite under one person. And this guy to the right, he's known as King Adass because he's a badass. I'm not even joking. His name is Adass, okay? And he is, a lot of people, what he believes, a Sithari. And this is supposed to be like the be-all Sith. This is supposed to be the god of the Sith, right? He is the leader. He is the one to unite all the banners, right? Unite all the kingdoms. And they drive back the Rakatan Empire. They give the Rakatan Empire their first ever loss. And this is like literally sending schisms across the entire galaxy that those world-slaving, galactic enslaving Rakatans have lost. And they kind of rally around these guys in Korriban. And so echoes go around the entire galaxy until people rebel, and then guess what? Another battle is lost. People get really crazy and they start inventing things. They invent a virus, and the virus is actually infecting the Rakatan weapons. So now their force-sensitive technology, their force-sensitive weapons, everything that they're using is getting cut off from the Force. But something happens. The virus starts evolving. The virus becomes more effective than it's supposed to be. And then it infects the Rakatans as well. To the freaking point, the Rakatans get cut off from the damn Force, and they can't use their powers anymore. The entire Infinite Empire collapses. All because of this one freaking fight on Korriban. Because they gave this unbeatable opponent one freaking loss. And that was all because King Aras and the Sith purebloods. The Rakatans, it's a sad story for them. They end up freaking dying. That virus absolutely did the work. Put in the work. It was genocide. Over time, they're extinct. We don't see them anymore during the time of the Empire, during the time of the Republic, during the time of the Jedi Academy. They're gone. That freaking virus deleted all of them. But that's what you have to understand right now. Because the rest of the Sith lore, the rest of the stuff that's about to happen is because of what we've seen on Korriban, because of what we've seen on the Sith purebloods, and because of the Infinite Empire collapsing. Okay? Yeah. Bro, this is so wild. I love this so much. Yeah, I know, dude! I know, dude! I know, the Rakatans are sick. I love the Rakatans. And I will always defend that the Rakatans, in my opinion, were just so far beyond anything that we've ever seen in Star Wars. The fact that they can not only use the dark side of the Force to a degree we've never seen, but also that all their technology was in tune with the Force as well? Bruh, that's insane. Like, there is no Force, bro. There is no Force to a degree that we've ever seen that. And even Abeloth, who's supposed to be like a demigod, you know, it's crazy to me that they have not been used enough. And even beyond them, there's like the architects and the ancients and things like that Star Wars is always, you know, kind of hinted at. Who are these creatures? These are the things that terraform the entire universe for people to live and breathe, you know. And then the Rakatans kind of also have that power because they also influenced hyperspace technology. They were one of the only races that were able to literally dip in between and find these hyperspace ways and travel all throughout the galaxy, which is another reason why they were so hard to defeat, because no one was using that technology. No one knew about hyperspace and stuff like that. And I think they even had it to a degree that was more advanced than what we see in the Star Wars universe today. So it's stuff like that, like, bruh, you know, they really got rocked. So I always want to see more. I can't wait to see more. But let's get some questions before we get into the next half of this. We're already at 8:37. The lesson is going on. The lecture is happening. Make sure you tell your friends, record it, take all your notes so you can study up and get all the knowledge, baby. Let's go. More than Abeloth? So Abeloth herself is extremely powerful. I do not think that a Rakatan... Oh, no. Actually, that is not true. There was a Rakatan that actually might be more powerful than Abeloth. Believe it or not, there was a rogue Rakatan. We're getting off track here, okay? But there was a rogue Rakatan that you play in the MMO, Star Wars The Republic. And all the Rakatans that literally conquered everything in the entire Star Wars galaxy, okay? This is all the Rakatans that literally, you know, enslaved people, destroyed planets, took planets for themselves, you know, created an empire that was more massive than the Galactic Empire. They all had to unite against one Rakatan that literally broke away from their chains. They all had to unite against this guy and imprison him in the middle of a planet because he was that powerful. They couldn't kill him. They could not kill this guy because he was that powerful. They literally had to imprison him inside of a planet. And he stayed there forever. And I mean I don't know unless the Hero of Tython killed him or something, which is a character you play in the game. He's still there and he's broken, like absolutely incredibly broken, to the point the lore doesn't make sense about how overpowered this guy is. So I would say that guy would probably give Abeloth a run for his money, but the average Rakatan, no, I think Abeloth is too strong. But all of them together, they're insane. They're insanely powerful, man. I think that they would give Yoda the work. You know, Yoda would struggle. That's how strong I think that a lot of the Rakatans are. So yeah, he should be freed at some point. That's what I would love to see Rey fight in the new movies, man. Give me some new shit. That's what I want, dude. Yeah, I love it so much too, fam. Basically, the Britain versus the Colonials Revolution War. We haven't got to that yet, but that's coming. Global superpower versus country divided, and the country divided won. Yeah, it's insane, man. I love it, dude. Could the aliens that look like them in episode 4 and 6 be their children in the Republic? So, okay, that's actually a great question, Valhall. That is awesome. So, hey, Razor fam, thank you so much for coming here. Ready up. Fam, that is such a great question. So, lo and behold, when you play Knights of the Old Republic, I think Knights of the Old Republic 2, they talk about the Rakatans, and I think it's only like a couple little dialogue sequences, but essentially what you come to understand is that this race is kind of like no one remembers them. Around, so KOTOR probably takes about 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. Around that time, the Rakatans are like it's a legacy. You know, it's a myth. No one hears about them. In fact, they're so rare at that point because they're basically dying off from that disease and then they can't populate, you know, that I think a lot of them become like lore masters or teachers or storytellers or something, if I remember correctly, and barely anybody hears or sees them. So when they see them, they don't really understand that this is a Rakatan, you know? And I think some of them even tried to help the Republic later, after all the wars and the Mandalorian wars back in the day with Revan and stuff like that. But nobody knows, like, that history because it's so ancient. In the battles that took place, like, literally, because you know what happens with war, it's so destructive. So, you know, lore gets lost. You know, lessons get, knowledge is gone. You know, just evaporates through all the destruction. And so that's what's so incredible about the Rakatans. You know, they literally just, like, changed the entire galaxy, enslaved galaxies, and then people forget them overnight. You know, not overnight. It's like hundreds of thousands of years. But by the time the Republic is becoming the Republic that we know and we see in the Phantom Menace, no one knows who the hell they are. Nobody knows. And that's just the sad story of the evolution of everything that we're going into, man. But yeah. So, we already talked about the fall of the Infinite Empire. So, the battle is won, guys. No one has to worry about the Infinite Empire anymore. No one has to worry about the Rakatan enslaving anybody, right? So, what happens is the Republic is created. The formation of the Republic happens. And this is 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. So we're picking up a little bit of speed now. You can see how some things are happening. Korriban is kind of the anchor point, right? And the Sith people, about 100,000 years. Then the war breaks out, about 27,000 years before the Battle of Yavin with the Rakatan Empire. And then 25,000 years, we have now the formation of the Republic. Because everything has happened here. And now we also have the creation of the Jedi Order. The Jedi Order has been created alongside the Galactic Republic. And it's so interesting because the Republic is not what you know it to be. It's not just like, oh, right, yeah, guys, here we go. Here's all the sectors of the galaxy, you know, the core, the inner core, the mid-rim. Here it is, all right here. Beautiful. No, man, like, it's a scrub-dub republic. And they kind of barely know how to do this stuff. And space isn't really explored yet. They're like, there's this, you literally just bought a house in the middle of the galaxy. You put up your fence, and you have no idea where the hell any of this other shit is. Hyperspace is still pretty unknown. You know, uncharted space is a lot larger than people really understand right now. And then you have the Jedi Order, which is also on Tython. And Tython is practically at the center of the galaxy. It's not at the complete center, but it's pretty damn close. Okay? And that's where this stuff gets really interesting, because you're going to understand, to grasp the scale of the galaxy and how these things are happening all outside of everyone's reach. No one knows what's going on, and how easy it is to be enslaved or to have invaders like the Rakatans come in. They're literally just setting up their borders. And this is where shit happens, because even the Jedi struggle so early in their lives, man. So what is the PowerPoint on the Jedi Order? Right here. So here we go. And it's going to be really sad, guys. Because as much as I am a Sith enthusiast, as much as I love the Sith, and I love explaining about everything that happens with the Sith, it's also really tragic just to see what happens with the Jedi Order. And so 25,000 years, we at 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, we have the first great schism in the Jedi Order. What is a great schism? So basically, this is like when a disagreement happens, and there's kind of a civil war. That's basically what's going on. There's this one guy, all right? We have the little art here for reference, right? His name is Zendor, okay? And Zendor, he kind of discovers the dark side. Not as like, wow, the first time the dark side has ever been discovered. No. We know the Rakatans use the dark side. We know Korriban has a natural affinity for the dark side. We know the Sith purebloods are, have the dark side, use the dark side. The dark side is naturally powerful inside them. But from a Jedi standpoint, he's exploring the Force. He's meditating, and then he discovers the dark side of the Force as a Jedi. And this is going to be really interesting because the Jedi don't use the dark side of the Force. We see in the movies, we understand what happens to those that use the dark side of the Force, especially, from a depiction from the movies specifically. Zendor begs and pleads the Jedi to use the knowledge of the dark side because he sees the benefit. He understands what more power can give him if used correctly, right? But just like everybody else that wants to do good with good intentions, some of the worst things imaginable happen. And because the difference in ideals between Zendor and the Jedi, he sees the Jedi as closed-minded, which a lot of people do, especially like us that are Anakin Skywalker fans, especially like us that are Revan fans, we see how potentially dogmatic the Jedi can be. And if they were dogmatic during the prequel era, imagine how dogmatic they were 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, before Episode 4. And that, Zendor says, you know what? Enough of this shit. I'm leaving the Jedi Order, and I'm bringing all the people that agree with me. And he does. And they become the legions of Leto. These are basically his followers. These are people that honestly believe in the words that he is saying that, the dark side of the Force is something we should be exploring. It's the dark side of the Force is something that we should be utilizing. The Jedi are trying to hold us back. In fact, I don't like the Jedi. In fact, I think the Jedi are holding this power against us. So he takes that, and he tries to go to the newly formed Republic and tell the Republic that the Jedi have this terrible goal of controlling the galaxy. He's lying to them. He's deceiving. He's already doing Sith stuff. He's already doing dark side stuff because of his ambition. He doesn't realize that. He doesn't realize that like everybody else. But the Republic see through his lies, and they declare him as a warlord, as a warmonger, as a fearmonger. And then he creates more enemies inside the galaxy. Eventually, the war breaks out. People are dying. Jedi are dying. His people are dying. The Jedi eventually have a task force. They lock him down. They trace him. And they defeat him. And they kill him. Destroying him and destroying majority, more powerful, the power base of his followers as well. So not only did Zendor really kind of create this problem himself, he also got a lot of people killed because of his ideas. And he didn't realize that because, the dark side blinds you. And this was the first time this happened. But it's not the last. But it's not the last, guys. Oh, man, it's so bad. So mind you, this was 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, okay? So now around 7,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. This is 18,000 years after that first great schism, after that first craziness that happened. There are people that rise up and follow in Zendor's footsteps. In fact, a lot of the people that do follow in his footsteps are apparent heirs, people that were related to him, people that share his ideals. Somehow, some way, out of all the Jedi craziness, out of all the beginnings, people probably discovered the dark side of the Force, probably were curious, probably didn't know how to deal with questions. Naturally curious people that were genuinely asking questions about what is the dark side? Why don't we use the dark side? Yes, but you're calling the light side ahch-to, and this new thing, the dark side, is Bogan. These are names that they're referring to in the lore. A lot of people see them together. But people cannot distinguish that even though they're together, one side is not meant to be used. People see them together and they think that that should be the representation of how you use the power. And they're misled. They're deceived. they're deceived by these 12 major leaders, okay? And they're all learning the ways of the dark side. They're seeing the Jedi basically like as misguided or even closed-minded like before, like Zendor did. And, you know, they question the light side of the Force. Man, it's so sad. Truly, they saw that the Jedi, they truly believed, and I think some people can agree with them, that the Jedi hadn't evolved for 20,000 years. Like the Order was stagnant, right? Or even afraid to question everything that happened during that first Great Schism. And they all believed that the Jedi had a stranglehold on the Force, that they were not allowed to not only question the light side of the Force, but potentially try different ways, out of curiosity, to understand the Force as an entire entity, and not just divided by light and dark. And so these dark-sided Jedi, these Jedi, these dark Jedi, right? We're going to call them the Dark Jedi, okay? They decide to start taking the dark side of the Force and augmenting creatures using alchemy, okay? And for a lot of people that don't understand, you're taking life, right? The way life is intended to be this way. The Force is connected to all living things. That tree, the rock, everything binds the universe together by the Force, right? And then you're taking that, the Force is telling you it's supposed to be this way, and then you start creating it and evolving it and manipulating it in a way that you see, that you perceive it. The Jedi saw this as a perversion, and that it violates everything that is the very essence of the Force. But all these followers of Zendor, that wanted to understand the dark side of the Force, couldn't freaking see that they were altering the natural way of things. That they were unnaturally augmenting the natural way, right? And yes, exactly like Plagueis. Yes, exactly like Plagueis. Very similarly unnatural. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And this is where it all starts. This is the problem. This is where the second great schism happens. And the 100-year darkness, 100 years of war, 100 years, and the second great schism. So it's not only like the Jedi are failing, bro. The Jedi are failing, not only because, you know, these people that are coming out and being curious, but they just don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to answer these questions. They don't know how to legitimately, like, look at themselves and be like, what are we doing? What are we doing that is creating this? Instead, they fight. They keep fighting. They keep fighting, bro. They keep fighting. Everything that happened with Xandor is basically happening, but on a grander scale now, okay? And this is the final civil war that we see, and it's between the Jedi and the Dark Jedi. And eventually, after all of this war, after all of this destruction, the Dark Jedi lose. Go figure, the Dark Jedi lose. Okay, and it's 12 leaders, 12 major leaders that we were talking about. There's more people that are following them. There is more people that are surviving. But the main people, and this is the one name that I think you should remember the most, is ahch-to. Okay? And then you have Zozan, you have Baron Drea, you have Caranus Mur, and Sorza Sin. But the main person you have to remember is ahch-to. Okay, because this is a character that is so important, not only to Star Wars and the Sith, but also future stuff that we're going to talk about later. But ahch-to is their leader. ahch-to is a follower of Xandor, maybe even an heir. Okay, and the Jedi basically, they don't know really what to do in this situation. They're very more aware, self-aware of what has happened to not just to the galaxy, but also their order and their view of the Force. Clearly, there are things that need to be done here, and there's a massive decision. What are you going to do? You know, are you going to be a Jedi and put these people in jail? Are you going to execute them? Something needs to be done here because clearly this entire thing keeps happening. This balance, this war, it's just a cycle, right? What does Baylan say in Ahsoka? Again and again and again. This shit keeps happening. Why? Are there still creatures present in today's lore that are from this beginning? Yes. Yes, there are. And we'll get to that soon, fam. We'll get to that. Maybe not this stream, but later as well, okay? So now we have, okay, so this is 6,900 years before the Battle of Yavin. The Jedi make a decision. and they exile the Dark Jedi. They exile the Dark Jedi, okay? And they do not understand, the Jedi. The Jedi do not understand this freaking decision that they have made it, and how it's going to influence not only the future Jedi Order, but the literal entire galaxy of space and time. Literally, the entire continuity of Star Wars has literally effed itself right with this decision. They don't execute. The Jedi don't want to be executioners. They're so to the light that they don't realize that mercy may not be the best decision here. And they let these people go. They take away their weapons. They take away their navigations. They take away their ships. They put them all onto this one ship, a couple ships, and they deem them exiles. And they're banished. They are banished from Tython, the home planet of the Jedi, where the light side is very strong in the Force. And they ban them from the Republic. They were banned them from everything. So Ajunta Pol takes his exiles, and they leave the planet. They're forced to leave because the Jedi did not want to make the decision to become executioners. But like I said, they have no idea of the shit that they have done. Yo, cool to know. What's up, fam? So good to see you, fam. Stormtrooper! Stormtrooper. Yes. So, and this is a problem. This is a major problem. So I'm going to see if this video works, okay? Because the type of stuff that's going to happen here is really sad and crazy, because the Jedi have made this point that, you know, they've won both of these wars, but did they really? You know, because for some reason there has been a usurp. There has been this ideology that keeps manifesting in the reality of the Jedi Order, that the dark side of the Force is something that needs to be studied. Now they have pushed that problem away. It's no longer their problem, right? And so, so this may not work. Okay, it's not going to play media. That's fine. I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so let me get the actual video real quick. 1 second, guys. I actually made a video. Okay, so here's the deal. All right, this is really important, because I need you all to understand how insane this shit is, that not only what the Jedi made the exiles do, but how the exiles literally thrived in this situation. You now have these Jedi, okay? These are exiled Jedi. They're very powerful in the Force, okay? Very powerful. They are not stupid. You know, misguided, absolutely, but very powerful, very resourceful, maybe even some of the greatest fighters and survivors that the Jedi Order has ever produced. And you put them on ships, and you say, listen, you are no longer allowed in this area, you have to go this way. This is basically their trail of tears, in a sense, okay? And they're pushing them out to where they belonged, out from their home, and they're making them go find something new. Basically like a fresh start, right? So this is Tython, okay? Tython is right in the middle, right in the center. Watch the red arrow, right in the center of the galaxy, not the complete middle, okay? But it's right there in the center. And to make you understand how freaking vast this goddamn galaxy is, okay? Do you see to the right? Do you see all these planets? Okay, this is the known galaxy, right? The known explored galaxy. And at this time, in 6,900 years before the Battle of Yavin, majority of the planets that you see are not discovered. A majority of these highways, these purple lines, these are highways, these are hyperspace trade routes. They are not discovered yet. Navigation is completely gone. And mind you, they were also stripped of their navigation devices. They are literally sailing not only in the Great Pacific, but also in the dark with no navigational skills. And they have no idea where the F they are going. And I need you to understand how massive this entire galaxy is, because this is the Star Wars galaxy. And Tython is literally in the middle. And again, with no GPS, with no Google Maps, okay, with no map quest, these Sith have to find their way out into deep space, uncharted deep space that people have never freaking been to. They have no idea where they're going. And they're just pushing out into new territories, pushing out into uncharted space. And then something happens. Something happens where they're leaving, and then something is calling them. Something is calling them through the Force. And it's not just any type of Force, bro. It is the freaking dark side. Something is calling them from the dark side of the Force, and it is strong, and is at the very edge of the known galaxy. And that planet, that source is a planet. It's a dark-sided planet. And it's not just any dark-sided planet. It's freaking Korriban. It's freaking Korriban from 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, where all the Sith purebloods are, where all the Massassi and the priests, everything that has been happening with the Rakatan Empire, all that craziness that has literally been happening simultaneously, they find Korriban. Not just Korriban, but it turns out the Sith purebloods have a tiny slip of space there that they created, that they conquered. Everything. That entire Sith pureblood empire is right there for the taking. So now you have these Jedi exiles that are extremely strong in the Force. They have given themselves to the dark side. And then they find this beautiful empire all right there with this crazy society about these Darksiders, these Sith, these pure blood race that has a natural affinity in the dark side, people that enslave themselves to the dark side, to their ideology. It's literally a home away from home, the home that they never knew, man. And they show up on this planet. Not only are these Jedi exile extremely powerful, but the Sith purebloods, who've been fighting, mind you, who have literally practically destroyed the Rakatan Empire because of that one fight that we talked about, 27,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, 29,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. They've been sitting there and waiting and fighting. And those Sith purebloods realize that these new exiles that came to their planet are much more powerful than them. And they see these Jedi exiles that are dark-sided in the Force. They see them as gods. Gods coming down from the stars. And they praise them as gods. And that's how the exiled Jedi become Sith Lords in that moment. Because the Sith purebloods praised them as gods. And so they adopted the name Sith because they were praised as lords, becoming the first Dark Lords of the Sith. And that is how the Sith become to be from the movies, from the characters that you see in the movies. This is how the Sith begin. Crazy shit, bro. Crazy shit, bro. Let's go, dude. It's crazy, dude. It's insane, man. It's insane, how the story is. You know, it is so beautiful how not only there's so much shit happening in the entire galaxy. There's so much stuff happening, and then this planet that has just been practically created just for these exiles. It's so funny with the Force, right? The Force deems all these things and is messing around with balance, and all these things are happening. It's almost as if the Force curated all of this to happen. And that's true too, though, because the dark side of the Force, I wouldn't say is a perversion, but it's definitely selfish. It represents all of the bad things that people do, right? At least from the movie's depiction, not video games or anything else. From the movie's depiction, George Lucas's vision of the dark side of the Force has always been something that is selfish desires. Power over everything else. Power over honor. Power over empathy. Love. It's supposed to be selfishness and corruption and deceit. And this planet that's all about rage and fighting and anger and hatred literally becomes the cradle of this power for this beacon of hope for these people that were exiled because of the way that they were viewed, the way of their curiosity, of course, obviously for bad intent, but this eventually becomes the Sith. They end up mixed breeding. They end up breeding and mixing and then they become hybrids, and then they become the Sith that you usually see. And it's crazy how everything evolves from here. But this, my friends, was the dawn of the Sith, and I hope you all enjoyed that. Because, hell yeah, fam, this is where the shit is, baby. Let's freaking go. This is so cool. You're freaking cool. I'm glad you all stick around here. So, where's Balin's perspective fit in all of this? Or was his character a new introduction? His character was a brand new introduction, man. And it is so beautiful. Because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about specifically, but I just want to catch you guys up on, like, chapters, like the pillars of Star Wars. And I really believe that the pillars of Star Wars follow the Sith into the movies. Every single Sith kind of has a tale, and that story kind of fleshes out into everything else. So it's really cool to see what else is happening with Star Wars, and I think the Sith probably have the most intriguing parts of these stories, and you can follow them like books, just like I showed you today with this story. Really starts there, man. The rest of the story really starts there, because the next stuff we're going to talk about probably next month, in the next couple weeks when I get the next PowerPoint done, that's going to be about when the Sith come back with a vengeance and fight the Jedi in the hyperspace wars. That's going to be really interesting, and you can start to see where everything starts to... you can see where the Sith and the Jedi just can't get out of each other's hair, man. And it's because, you know, the Jedi ultimately, indirectly created the Sith. So, yes, Sarah says, you're a great storyteller. I'm listening while making dinner. Let's go. You make that dinner, girl. Let's go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's kind of my dream, honestly, is telling Star Wars stories. I love it, man. It's really fun. I can always talk about this. I won't shut up, please. I will not shut up. But guys, so if you guys really want to get into a lot of this stuff, I'm really about giving credit where it's deserved. Please go ahead and follow me. I think my thing's at the bottom of the screen. No, I don't know where it is. God dang it. Oh, there it is right there. So yeah, you guys can follow me on like Twitter and everything else. But I did want to make sure you guys understand where a lot of this stuff comes from. And so the first thing, which I think is really awesome, is to the right over here, Star Wars The Old Republic HoloNet. The Star Wars The Old Republic HoloNet is from a video game, the MMO, Star Wars The Old Republic. And it's one of the coolest stories in all of Star Wars. And basically what this HoloNet does is it takes you on a timeline, basically 1 through 10, 12, 13, A through Z, about all of this lore that builds up to the game. And it's telling you everything that happens before the game. And the last HoloNet, the last movie of the timeline, is basically where the game starts. And it is so beautiful. A lot of that stuff is Old Republic stuff. Some of my favorite freaking era in all of Star Wars. And it's really cool if you guys just want to sit down and listen to stuff while you're folding clothes and stuff. Just get into it. You probably have no idea what the hell they're talking about, but it's Star Wars, man, and it gets really interesting. The second thing is the Book of the Sith. This was released in 2012, and I think was also republished in 2016. Really awesome Star Wars lore. It takes a lot of really good things that came from its precursors, a lot of reference book, a lot of Star Wars roleplay stuff, and was put into this one specific book. And guess what it's about? The Sith. It talks about a lot of the stuff that we talk about. It talks about a lot of the stuff that you've seen. A lot of the pictures that I've used come from this book. Definitely check it out. If you see it at Barnes & Noble or something online, Amazon, go get it and check it, man. It is so damn good. It's really cool because one of the best things about this book is when you're reading the chapters, you actually get to see Jedi Masters right in this book and talk about quotes and things like that. And then you also get to see Palpatine, Darth Sidious, write notes and talk about this. So, like, let's say Mace Windu says something, the Sith are stupid. Yeah, boy, what's up? And then Palpatine will say, nah, no, you. And then it's really cool because you get to see, like, everybody's change of possession. Like, oh, the Jedi had this at one point. Oh, Palpatine had this at one point. Oh, Palpatine died, and then Luke Skywalker had this. So Luke Skywalker is saying, nah, bitch. You know, so it's really cool to see this in transition of power and everybody talking over each other's notes. It's hilarious and amazing. Really good stuff. But the one thing that I love that I love the most is actually this book right here, the Jedi versus Sith: Essential Guide to the Force. Dude, this book was created in 2007. It is one of the best Star Wars books of all time, man. A lot of reference books and timelines books that you see fed off of this book. There's also one book that I missed. I'll have to talk about it, but that book, dude, has so much lore in it, and it is insane to me that no one ever talks about this book. Like, this book was created before a lot of things, before a lot of video games, before a lot of novels, like the Darth Bane, I think the first Darth Bane book that had come out when this book was created. So the trilogy hadn't finished with Darth Bane stuff, so you get to see a lot of, like, first initial guesses and ideas with the lore. For instance, this book talks about Darth Revan from the video game of Knights of the Old Republic, and how Revan was like the first ever Sith Lord using the title of Darth. Really freaking cool stuff. And then you turn out that later, of course, you know, the lore changes because characters get created, stuff gets retconned and changed. But it's really awesome, man. So definitely go follow that stuff. Go check it out. And also, the last thing that I used a lot is actually the this book right here, the Essential Guide to the Force, because it's actually another one of my favorite books. It's all about space, all about planets, all about hyperspace waves and hyperspace and just the territories in the galaxy. Just really cool stuff. Helps you understand, like, the population and how the galaxy was ultimately shaped because of the formation of the Republic, because of the Sith Wars, because of everything that you see with the Great Schism and stuff like that. Really cool things that you would think would not be interesting, but when you apply it to Star Wars, it's the coolest damn thing, man. It's so damn cool. But I really hope you guys enjoyed that PowerPoint. Let me know if you guys want more of this stuff. We can continue talking about these things in future streams and presentations. I think it's really fun. It also helps me in my job, learn to speak clearly, learn to tell you guys without you guys falling a freaking sleep, you know, and really getting to the nitty gritty of this lore so everybody can completely understand what the hell I'm talking about. Makes my content better, makes it more interesting, gives it a lot more value, and we're all learning some good shit here, you know? I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Yo, David Torres, thank you so much, fam. I appreciate you. Lord D's been busting out the seams. Let us all out. Yeah, let's go. That's what it is, man. They did, Leon. They did bring it on themselves. They did. And it's really sad because the schism had happened twice, you know, and it's... I think about it all the time, you know. It's there's a lot of stuff that I think about all the time, but specifically for Star Wars. But, man, it's sad to see what the Jedi had did. And I think what's also sad too is a lot of those stories aren't really fleshed out, man. You know? That there needs to be more. There needs to be more. And I'm really curious if the reason is because we haven't heard a lot of those stories fleshed out is because maybe some of the stuff is going to be in the new movie. You know, and that's going to be cool. The amount of individual story potential in all these years and eras of Star Wars is crazy. I know, bro. I am sweating just from talking about it. And it's crazy because it's not just one movie. You know, you guys heard the lore. That spans over thousands, tens of thousands of years of lore there, man. There's so much that you can do. There's so many movies you can do. There's so many movies and TV shows and comics and books, video games. Like, it's insane. The one thing that I think that they're going to have a problem with is the technology. The worst thing, guys, listen, the worst thing in that story, I've made it sound really cool. The worst thing in that story is the lightsabers. The lightsabers are not the same, and I think that's a problem. Like, lightsabers are something that shouldn't really be altered and changed too much because they're one of the coolest things in entertainment history. And I think that if you change lightsabers the way they look in that story with a cord and a battery pack, it's not gonna do it, man. That's gotta be something that needs to change. That's one thing I never liked about that era of Star Wars. But everything else, cool as shit, man. Can't wait to see it. Jim King, thank you so much for this. Hey, thank you so much, fam. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. We need Dagovere diagrams of the Force. Yeah, dude, I would love that. I would love to see what's up. Send the link. We're both Star Wars junkies. Yes, thank you. Oh, dude, that's awesome, fam. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. No, seriously, you don't understand, man. Growing up and talking about this shit by myself, now I have all of you guys to listen to me, all this mumbo jumbo, so I really appreciate that, man. And check out the shorts on YouTube, please, guys, please check out the shorts. They're basically exactly like this, but in 60 seconds. So it's a lot of minute knowledge, but it's really good stuff. Would love to hear your feedback, and yeah, don't be afraid to comment on there, because I'm reading everything, and I always love the feedback. I read an article that a Boston kid from Harvard made the first real lightsaber. Yes, literally what that lightsaber looks like is what the lightsabers look like in the era that we just talked about, with a giant cord and a battery pack. It is wild. But that's going to be it tonight, fam. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for listening. I am going to go watch the rest of the soccer game, maybe some play Valorant, and I miss you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. It's next week, same time, okay? 8 p.m. Tuesday, baby. And you know, there's only one place that you can find this, all this knowledge, man, is, oh my God, is the Dark Temple, man. Oh, no. Is the Dark Temple. Visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I am Lord Dagovere, and I'll see you around, fam. Deuces.